So, are you the kind of leader that walks into a room, you're in there for a meeting, and your body is there, but you're not really present? Or maybe you're the type of leader that you lead in pieces or with pieces of you. In other words, one piece is over here handling this problem. Another piece is over here putting out a fire. Another piece is planning for this project or this meeting that's upcoming. Or another piece is thinking about this conversation that you have to have. And so you're really not leading out of your full self. You're only giving people that you lead and serve just a small piece of you. Now, if you fit in one or two of those categories, then stay tuned for today's coaching session. How to lead fully present every single time, every single day, in every single situation. Hey, what's going on, friends? It's Barry E. Knight. I want to take this time to welcome you to the Leadership Class Coaching Session. Now, look, before I get started with the teaching for today, do me a favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel where you're going to find more videos just like this to inspire you, to equip you, and to add value to your life and your leadership. Now, today's teaching is coming from my book, once again, The Gift Called Leadership. Again, you can go online to get it at thegiftcalledleadership.com. I'm coming from chapter 7, which is entitled Practice Global Awareness. I'm going to break that down in a moment. Practice Global Awareness. If you do have the book, I'm on page 163. Now, because of the depth of the content and how I really want to communicate this to you, I'm going to record this in two separate parts. So please make sure you come back to my YouTube channel to look and hopefully you'll get a notification when part 2 is coming up. So again, if you are that leader that finds yourself just kind of stretched and you're only leading from a small piece of you or increments of you or sections of you, and you're really not showing up in your fullest, most best, amazing self, personally and as a leader, then this particular coaching session, my friend, it is for you. So do me a favor, go grab a pen, get a paper, your smartphone, your dumb phone, your tablet, whatever it is that you use to take notes, and make sure you are taking copious notes. So let's talk about global awareness. First of all, I'm going to start off with the definition right here in the book on page 163. My definition of global awareness is the fully present state. It should be right on your screen as well. Global awareness is the fully present state of discerning what people really need to move into a better condition of being for themselves and for others. So we're talking about a globally aware leader. So you're not just looking at numbers. You're not just looking at graphs and data or data, however you say it. You're literally looking at the inner being of the people that you lead and serve. You're looking at the collective spirit that's in your team, the invisible stuff that empowers them to show up at their greatest and at their best every single time, every single project. The stuff that grind that's in them that says, boss, C-level executive, let's make this happen. We can do this together. It's going to be hard. I know we don't have the resources. I know we just lost 10% of our staff, but we got this. What causes that to happen? Well, it is frankly you. It is your ability to show up as a globally aware leader. Now, my friend, I have to tell you that being a globally aware leader, you're the linchpin in the organization when you are a globally aware leader. You need organizational culture and identity. I teach on that. It's in the book. You absolutely need to have it. You also need to have organizational values, core values, and principles that drive the behavior of your organization. All that is necessary. But what holds it all together is you being the linchpin as a globally aware leader. So again, global awareness is the fully present state of discerning what people really need to move into a better condition of being. So you're discerning, you're cognizant, you are Noticing again the energy and what people need so that they can show up in a better state or better condition of being for themselves and for the whole. So not just for themselves, but how do I get as a leader, how do you get the best in them so you can get the best out of them or the best from them. You have to pay attention. And when you do, your performance is going to increase. Productivity is going to increase. People are going to love working in your unit, in your department, in your organization, in your business, in your corporation. And they're going to love to follow you and achieve great things with you. So again, there are 10 states of global awareness, 10 states of global awareness. And the first state is the state of presencing. The state of presencing, or the state of being fully present. Write that down. The state of presencing. That also should be on your screen. And I'm going to read this. This is where you step in and you become their guide. You are the person that guides them from point A to a successful point B. You get the best in them so that you can get the best from them or out of them. So the definition of fully present is to be so immersed in the highest future potential of others that it increases their capacity to believe for what is possible. I want you to imagine yourself being a fully present leader or a globally aware leader in the state of presencing, to where when you show up in the people you lead and serve, you show up in their life, you believe in their 10. Whatever their 10 is, you see their 10. You communicate to them as a 10. You correct them as a 10. In other words, you don't drop down to where they are at a 2 or 3. You correct them and you speak to the 10 in them at all times. Imagine what that would do for the people you lead and serve if you communicated to them and even those that they work with at the level of 10. Fully present with their 10, in so much to where your belief in them inspires productivity, performance, growth within themselves, simply because you showed up as a fully present leader, or you showed up as a leader leading in the state of presencing. Listen, if you're a leader and you find yourself stuck in your leadership, stuck with a level or maybe a limiting belief or limiting behavior, I want to encourage you to sign up for my 30-minute clarity call. This is an opportunity for us to connect. I'm not going to sell you or pitch you on any of my services. It's just where we come together and I begin to listen to your story, listen to the challenges and the struggles that you're facing, and ask what I call presencing questions. These are questions to get you fully present with your best self, get you the most clear that you can be, and also to maybe ask questions, help you ask questions in a way you weren't asking them before, and definitely leave our conversation seeing in a way that you've not seen before. So if that's something that you would like to do, there's no cost. Again, no selling, no pitching of anything, no forcing you or pressuring you to buy anything. I just want to be present with you and help you become fully present with your goals, with your objectives, with your vision. There's a link in the notes. Just click the link, find a date that matters and that's convenient for you, and we'll connect on the 30-minute clarity call. Now, the second state of global awareness is the state of self-awareness. Now, a lot of people would say, Barry, I'm very self-aware. I know me. I know I got an attitude. I know I have these things going on. I know if you say something to me negative, you better believe I'm going to go off on you. Look at how I'm rolling my neck, right? But people say that is being self-aware. I know I might cuss you out. I know I might swing on you. I know I might do this or do that. That's not self-awareness, my friend. That's self-centeredness at best. That's conceit. That's pridefulness. Self-awareness is this. Self-awareness is me knowing who I am and how who I am impacts who you are. And then me taking the initiative to grow so that who I am impacts you in a greater way. That's self-awareness. Self-awareness is not me saying, listen, you just got to deal with me. Look, if you can't handle me, then you don't need to work here. That's not self-awareness, because I'm not getting the best out of you or getting the best to you so I can get the best out of you or from you. So self-awareness is looking at the gap. Like, whoa, there's a 7-level gap or a 7-foot gap between me and how I lead this person. I need to close that gap. Self-awareness is, and I have this in the book, let me read it. The result of activating self-awareness should always be personal growth and maturity. So you know you're self-aware as a leader when people maybe put on a form or an evaluation form, a 360-degree evaluation. You're not getting mad. Oh no, they're just marking that because they think this. Okay, you got a 3 point something out of 10 because not just because of one, but because of everybody has voted, and that's the average of how they view you. And you can't go blame people for what they think about you and how they view your leadership. Self-awareness is, wait a minute, let me stop and think how who I am is impacting who they are, their performance, their productivity. What does it look like when I give instruction, direction? Am I fully present with them? Do I speak to their highest full potential, or do I call out faults and dismiss the things that they did do well? So I want you to think about that, of how you can grow in the state of awareness. Now, the third state is the state of mindfulness, the state of being mindful. I can hear my mother, God rest her soul, I can hear her saying, Barry, when you go out, make sure you're mindful of your surroundings. Or, if I'm with a group of people, be mindful of who you're with. Be mindful of the people around you and who you're hanging with. In other words, what she was ultimately saying is pay attention to what's going on as it's going on. See Otto Scharmer, and I write this in the book. It says, he writes, mindfulness is the capacity to pay attention to your attention. In other words, you're not just a character in the story, but you're also the writer and the producer of the story. So leaders, it is incumbent upon us to make sure that we're just not so locked in that we can't see ourselves losing ourselves, or we can't see the interaction that others are having with us. We're just focusing on kind of a one-way street. But now we see this 2-lane dynamic, this binary flow between us and the people that we're leading and serving. And so we're noticing that, oh, wait, when I said this, something happened to them, or their body shifted, and I need to slow down and be mindful of what that was. This is going to help you to communicate in a way to where people are more clear with you, and you don't have too many workarounds or misunderstandings happening when you are mindful. So for being in the state of mindfulness literally helps to kind of remove the barriers, to remove confusion out of the process and out of your communication. So practice the state of mindfulness. Now, the fourth state of global awareness is the state of empathy. The state of empathy. Now, we've heard that word, empathetic and empathic leadership. We've heard that many times. But again, see Otto Scharmer. Here's what he writes. Empathy allows us to see ourselves as a part of the greater whole. In other words, it's not your problem. So as a leader, we have to be careful saying it's your problem, because remember, they are a part of the entire body, the entire system. So that would be like if something was wrong with my foot and I said, well, that's my foot's problem. No, it's actually my problem. It's the entire Barry's problem. It's your entire issue, and you become a part of it. So it's necessary for us to slow down and to find out the why behind certain things with the people that we're leading and serving, to understand, to do our best. The Apostle Paul writes, to this person who was at this level, I came to them on that level so I can understand them and ultimately win them to a greater cause. So we want to be able to slow down and not be so in a rush to where we can't empathize and really learn another's pain, challenge, opportunity, what their fears are, what their experience is, and what their story is. So learn how to be an empathetic leader and operate from the state of empathy. Now, the fifth state of global awareness is the state of active listening. Now, I have to tell you, this is probably one of my most favorite topics to talk about. because it is very detailed. And a lot of people, when I'm teaching or training, a lot of people say, Barry, not a lot of people, probably about 10% of the room will raise their hand and say, I am a great listener. I'll have a scale up there. Who listens from an 8 to a 10? That means you're a pretty good listener. Probably about 10% of the room. Everybody else is probably at the 4 to 7 level, whatever I'm rating on in that training. But for those that say I'm an 8 to 10, I'm a pretty good listener. I listen. Once I continue to talk about active listening, they start to say, you know what, Barry, I'm not as good of a listener as I thought I was. So there are 3 levels that I'm going to give you, 3 levels of active listening. The first level is superficial listening. Superficial listening, and I want you to write next to superficial listening in parentheses, write into my thoughts. Superficial listening. Now, this is where most humans, it's human nature. This is where most people at your job, most leaders where we operate from is superficial, because we're going here, and we just are listening so that we can articulate the best answer possible. That's what we're doing. We're listening. We're getting the right detail because we want to make sure we give you the best response possible. But again, if you want to improve performance, productivity, increase the volume of what and the excellence of what your team and your staff is producing, then you want to take heed to all of these states, especially this active listening. So superficial listening would be, let's say someone comes to me and says, Barry, oh my gosh, last weekend my son played in a basketball tournament and it was so amazing. It was so great watching him play. He did so well, right? So that's what they said to me. But in my mind, I'm thinking about the tournament my son played in and how great he was. And I'm just waiting for them to finish. I'm listening. I can repeat back what they said, but I'm waiting for them to finish so that I can hurry up and tell them about my son. Oh my gosh, that was great. I'm proud of your son. Oh, my son was at a tournament as well. Let me tell you what he did, right? And then now, whoa. And we don't notice that they're there, but they kind of just disappear on you. They're like, wow, nothing I said even mattered to you. I want you to think about that, my friend, Mr. or Miss Leader. Do you listen to people to respond? Or do you listen to people to understand so that you can help them? Not understand so you can accuse them or prove you were right. That's level 1, superficial listening. I'm into my thoughts. But listening to understand so you can find out how to build a bridge from where they are to where they need to be. So you're fully present with that future them. You're listening to that future them and the disconnect or maybe the gap and how to mend it. Okay? So that is level 1, superficial listening. I'm into my thoughts. Level 2 is deep listening. Write that down. Deep listening, which means I'm into their words. So I'm not thinking about how I want to respond. Leaders, we have to listen to words that are coming out of their mouth. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Rush hour. Anyways, for those who watch it, you get it. So level 2 deep listening would be if this person comes to me and says, oh my gosh, Barry, my son just played the most amazing. It was so amazing watching him. It was so awesome. I really enjoyed it. I might ask, instead of saying about my son or, talk about the parts that I want to hear, I might say, tell me what was so amazing about that to you. Right? They said amazing. I'm using their words. I'm indicating that I'm listening, but also that I'm interested in what they're saying. It's one thing to listen to people. It's another thing to show that you are interested in what they're saying. And that's what begins to happen at level 2. The deep listening is you begin to show that you are interested. Now you have to be genuinely interested in them. And slow yourself down, slow your mind down. Again, being mindful. Mindfulness is how who I am impacts who they are. How I show up impacts how they show up, right? If I'm up here but they shrink No, no, that's not what we want. We want to come together. We want to create this synergistic, just warm connection, collaboration atmosphere when we're communicating. That's when you're going to build trust with your people. If you have a problem building trust, learn to listen and be interested in people. That's level 2, deep listening of active listening. Now, level 3 of active listening is spirit listening. That's in the book, spirit listening. And so superficial listening is I'm into my thoughts or I'm into my own world. Deep listening is I'm into their words. Spirit listening is I'm into their world. So if that same person came to me and said, Barry, oh, my son played, it was so amazing. It was so great watching my son play this past weekend. He did so great, scored, blah, 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 whatever. I might ask a different question from a spirit level of listening. What did that mean to you as a parent to just sit in those stands and watch your son, watch your daughter play that game and score those points? What was that like for you as a dad? What was that like for you as a mom? You see the difference between level 2? Level 2, I'm in their words. Level 3, I'm in their world. I was looking at the body language. There's something about them that just illuminated and lightened up when they started. And I wanted to speak to the light. I wanted to speak to that. It wasn't their words. It was something, their energy shifted when they were talking. Just imagine if you learn to listen to your team in that manner. Imagine what you would get out of them. Imagine what you would learn more of. I know I'm taking a little bit more time on this particular state of active listening, but hopefully you're getting how important it is to be in a leader that leads in the state. That means I'm in a mental space where when you come into my world, my first objective is to connect our worlds together, to get our words to dance synchronistically and in harmony with each other, so a greater world will emerge out of our encounter. That's what I'm really looking for, is how does that happen? How do we make that happen as individuals, as a team, where I'm actively listening to you? So a chart in my book, and I'm going to end this first part here on page 180, just gives you, if you have the book, if not, again, go to thegiftcultleadership.com, buy the book, $24.99. And it gives a chart and says superficial listening is when we listen to our thoughts. Deep listening is we listen to what they really mean. Spirit listening is we listen to what they're not saying. Superficial listening is we listen to how we feel about what they're saying. Deep listening is we listen to how they feel about what they're saying. And spirit listening is we listen to the deeper meaning of what they're saying.